with Willie Simmons, who is the Commissioner of Transportation, Central District. Good morning, Mr. Commissioner. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me this morning, and happy tax day.
You in Paradise in the Delta, or are you back in Jackson?
I'm in Paradise. Just finished meeting with a group of farmers in the Farm Bureau. A nice breakfast, and now I'm all yours.
Listen, there are a couple of bills still out there, and we talk about this year after year. I know we talked to Brad, and we've talked to Commissioner Busby about this. It's just getting to the point now where it's almost fish or cut bait. And give me a little bit of an update where we are as a former member of the legislature, and what the process is from here out, and what is at stake as far as the future building program in the state of Mississippi and highways and byways.
Paul, you've been a voice for advocating for more resources because you understand the need that we have for our highways, both maintaining them and building capacity, building new projects when we have a need to do that. We are coming into a situation where we will have a crisis on our hands. The legislature has been really good, and we want to thank them for what they've done. Both our state legislature and our fellow delegation, U.S. Congress, sending more money into the state, so we have a larger budget that we're able to do things, but for the most part, it's one-time money. And we can't build a good infrastructure system, especially capacity projects, on one-time money. So we're thankful to the legislature for what they've done, but we need them to give us recurring dollars. And again, you've been very supportive and encouraging the legislators to do that over the years. We need more citizens to get on board and more of the legislators to get on board and actually take a look at where we are. We need about $400 million annually just to maintain our current but lane miles.
Yeah.
That money is needed to make sure that our bridges are safe and that our highways are not tearing up your vehicles, and we're able to get our citizens and cargo where they need to go. But in addition to that, we need capacity money. And when I say capacity, these are the projects that we're looking at, like in the Central District, around the Jackson area. Interstate 55 needs to be widened, but so does Interstate 55 in DeSoto County. Highway 557 down in the southern part of the state, Highway 90, Interstate 110, all need to be improved, as well as other projects. So when you look at what we need in the way of capacity projects, we need about $9 billion, not in one time, but over the years. So in order to get there, you need recurring dollars. I take you over to Interstate 20 in Warren County at Vicksburg, one of the most unsafe interchange systems in the interstate system in the country. We need between $800 million and $1 billion to enhance and improve those interchanges. So, Paul, the need is there. We have laid it out in our 3-year plan, and we are saying to our friends and supporters in the legislature, give us the recurring money, and we have come up with some ways where we can get the money without having to raise any taxes. So that's
all right. Let me ask you this, Commissioner. Are those ways to do that without raising taxes embodied in the bills that are remaining in the House and Senate?
You know, you never say no until they sign it out. And most of the code sections that could do that are still alive. Now, the bills themselves, Senator Brannon as well as Senator Hobson introduced bills on the Senate side that would give us a part of the divergent use tax. That's the tax that we in 2018 came up with a formula to give money to the counties and municipalities and state aid. And what we did in that session, we put in 15% for the counties and municipalities and 5% for state aid. Paul, between 2020 and this January, municipalities combined has received $352 million. Counties have received $352 million, and state aid has received $118 million. We're not talking about taking any of that money because we think that's a good approach, that we should continue to fund the counties, municipalities, and state aid. We are advocating that the Department of Transportation for state highways should be put in the same system. And that's what Senator Hobson bill did, as well as Senator Brennan.
Is that bill dead?
Both of those bills are dead. Yes, sir.
But you did say it's not dead. There's some code sections that could bring something back alive.
Could bring them back to life.
So I'm guessing the bill that wanted to rework the lottery is that one also dead? Where anything over $80 million, of course, now goes to education, but they wanted to change it. One of the bills wanted to change it to an 80-20%.
We don't want to get into a fight with educators.
Yeah.
What you need to understand is that we still would have money going to education. What that bill did was to say that instead of $80 million, which we capped it in 2018, but 80%, if it had been 80% this year rather than $80 million last year rather than $80 million, we would have gotten approximately $120 million or so from that fund. The other money would continue to go to the Education Enhancement Fund, which is where those dollars are going all over the $80 million now. They also have looked at sports betting and other kind of things that they're considering to put more money in to our system. We're for that. We also are very supportive and hope the legislators give us the one-time money. They're looking at giving us ARPA money that they couldn't spend, approximately $80 million. There's a bill allowed to do that. Also, we have asked that they give us one-time money so that we continue the capacity projects that we have started, like 55 in the Rankin County project, and 25 in Rankin County, as well as Interstate 55 in DeSoto County, and Highway 15.
So when you said you're at a crucial point here, are you saying that no new contracts will be let in the future, or you're down to just the ones that are on the drawing board now? How critical are we talking about?
It's critical from the point of view, like we have projects in the 3-year plan, and we are currently doing what we call pre-construction. That is going in and doing the design, hydraulics, right away. Some of those projects will have to be put on hold because we don't have enough money with the one-time money in order to finish them. So even some of the projects that we have on the 3-year plan or in the 3-year plan, we're not going to be able to complete.
How do you arrive at the $400 billion infusion per year?
Those are the dollars that we are estimating that we need in order to maintain our existing lane miles. The highways that we have already built, the 4-lane, 2-lane, some of those projects you see are being done now with the lottery money that has not been done in over 30 years. We are having to catch up because we could not maintain those projects in the manner that they should have been in the past. So when we look at all of the dollars that's needed, bridges and everything, $400 million. In addition to that, Paul, I would like to just say to you, you know that a few years ago the legislature increased the weight. The federal government is looking at doing the same thing for interstate. That's going to put more wear and tear on our highways, which means that we need more maintenance dollars to take care of it.
Well, if they had their way with the EVs and just the battery weight before you put another pound on them, it's just incredible. So who knows what's going to happen with that one. But you're saying that if the House and Senate wanted to really take care of this, that you guys have put forth a way to do this without taxes, and it's not just one single way, it's a combination of several different moves.
We think you have to have several ways. We're never going to just say no to the use tax at the pump because we are way behind on that. We're only doing 18 cents. And you need to know that we don't get the full 18 cents. We get about 69 to 70% of the 18 cents that's collected. And that 18 cent is not a percentage. It's the cent on each gallon. Yep. So regardless to what the price of gas may be, we're still getting the 18 cents, and our share of that is approximately 70% of that. So
well, with Biden making the gas price up to $3.50 a gallon and increasing, I doubt very seriously there's going to be a lot of talk about increasing the gas tax on a state level right now. So we've got to have these other ways.
There are some other things as indicated that's out there. The virgin use tax is one that we really, really feel good about. But there are others that the legislature can consider to give us the money. Again, we don't anticipate getting $400 million this year recurring money for maintenance. We don't anticipate getting the $9 billion committed at this particular point. However, we want to start the process, and each year build on that until we get to where we know that the money is going to come in and we can adequately plan, as well as the industry can build our companies up.
Well, you got to have it. You got to have it. Look, we're almost out of time here. Can you hang on for just a second?
Sure.
Hold on for one moment. Back with the commissioner right after the wise words of Johnny Paycheck. Let me get back with Willie Simmons, Commissioner, Central District. And just to wrap it up here, $400 million, but you know you're not going to get that this year. As a matter of fact, what you're saying is just lay the groundwork for some type of reasonable discussion that you don't have to go and beg every year, that you can put forth a plan. I would imagine also in the world of business, when you can do this and negotiate on a long-term basis, you're probably going to get a better price.
We will get a better price, Paul. We have a situation right now in Greenville, Mississippi, Highway 82 bypass. That project will cost us pretty close to $200 million. We abandoned it 20 years ago because we didn't have money to build it out in capacity. And as a result of it, we may be paying double the price for it because of inflation. 4 things that are going to occur, Paul, and that is no question about it. We have 6,000 bridges that we have to maintain. We have 30,000 lane miles of highway that we have to maintain. So we have to do that in order to give you a smooth route and keep our highway system in place. But in addition to that, because the cost that we are dealing with to prepare and get revenue in is at the same level it was in 1987, the 18 cents per gallon, and we get 70% of that. However, we did get the $80 million lottery money, but it's not adequate. So when you put inflation and the fact that fewer individuals are going to the pump because of their usage of kind of vehicles that they're driving, they're getting better gas mileage. So we aren't going to see the same kind of revenue going forward that we are seeing coming from the fuel tax. That creates the crisis that we are talking about. The fact that we have all of those bridges, all of those highway lane miles, we have inflation eating up on us, and we have the decrease in revenue from our main source. We have to come up with something new. And we're simply saying to the legislature, thank you, Lieutenant Governor, thank you, Mr. Speaker, thank you, members of the legislature, for what you've done. But one-time money is not going to make it work. We got to have a system where you can plan and recur. No business, to include your radio station, is going to be able to operate if you don't have revenue that you can count on to plan for the future.
Well, one of the other things, when you go above maintenance, and I know you know this, when we start talking about Greenville or some of the places in the Delta or some other areas that see all of these economic projects happening in Marshall County or Madison County or et cetera, and they say, what about us? Well, you have to have that infrastructure there. And you've got to build that infrastructure one way or the other. So it is the lifeline to the economic success in our state. So final thoughts, sir.
When you see what's going on in Madison County, Rankin County, you see what's going on in DeSoto County and other parts of the north part of the state, you see what's going on around Hattiesburg and the Gulf Coast, we have to build infrastructure for the future. We can't just sit here and wait until Amazon, Nissan expand, all of the other things that's going on in and around the state of Mississippi, and say we're going to do it at the time that it happens. In order for those companies to look at Mississippi and say, I want to come, they want to know that we have several things. Infrastructure is one of those things. If you don't have the infrastructure, they're not going to come. And in many cases, if you don't maintain the infrastructure, they will leave you.
And I guess because when you start looking at education and you start looking at the Medicaid and everything else gets a lot of attention, and I think what the commissioners are saying, and also your executive director, Brad White, is just basically, hey, guys, we need a funding mechanism just to take it off the front page, let us get our work done, and find some type of funding mechanism so we can stop doing this on a year-to-year basis, which I would think any responsible commissioners or leaders or CEOs would ask, and the public or private. So I thank you for taking the time, sir.
Thank you, Paul, always. And we do have a great staff with leadership and Brad White and the 2,700 employees that we have. So we're very grateful to have a great staff. And we'll now begin to maintain them because the legislature allowed us to put money into their salaries to raise them from where they were.
Absolutely.
So we can be competitive.
Yeah. Let me ask you one question. If you were going to go for some hot tamales today, where would you go?
And from in Cleveland, I would go over to Joe's over in Rosedale.
Well, if you go Joe's in Rosedale, is that what you said?
That's what I said. Yes.
Get me 2 dozen. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good day, Paul.
You got it. Willie Simmons, Transportation Commissioner, Central District, and Chair